Welcome, and thank you for joining us on today's deep dive.
Really glad to be here.
So today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and we have a truly mind-bending mission ahead of us today.
Oh, absolutely. Mind-bending is the right word.
Yeah, we are going to step straight through the looking glass to explore an entirely alternate kind of upside-down history of the world.
Completely upside down.
Our journey today is based on this massive, really fascinating stack of excerpts from a book called The Secret History of the World by Mark Booth.
Right, which is quite a dense read.
It is.
Yeah.
And this is a deep dive into a hidden philosophy, one that was supposedly taught by ancient mystery schools and carefully preserved by secret societies for millennia.
Thousands of years.
Thousands of years. Now, if you have ever felt like modern science's explanation of the cosmos, a random, meaningless universe born of just blind chance, if that leaves you feeling a bit empty, this deep dive is going to offer a wild, captivating alternative.
It absolutely will.
Yeah.
But before we jump in, it is crucial to establish the stakes here. What we are exploring today is not a pitch for a fantasy novel. According to Mark Booth's research, this is the literal worldview held by some of the most influential figures in human history.
Not just a metaphor.
Exactly. The mission of this deep dive is not to debate the hard science. We aren't here to peer review the ancient world.
No, definitely not.
Rather, we want to engage in a profound, imaginative exercise. We want you, the listener, to briefly experience what it actually feels like to view the cosmos through the eyes of an ancient initiate.
To really get in their head.
Yes, we are completely suspending our modern disbelief to understand a philosophy that has secretly shaped art, politics, and culture for thousands of years.
And to really understand this, we have to set the scene in the ancient world. I want you to imagine places like Thebes in Egypt or Eleusis and Ephesus in ancient Greece.
These were the hubs.
Right. And these weren't just public temples where anyone could walk in and leave an offering. They had highly restricted, heavily guarded priestly enclosures attached to them.
The mystery schools.
The mystery schools. And entering these enclosures to learn their secrets was quite literally a matter of life and death.
It wasn't an open university.
Not at all. Booth shares this chilling story recorded by the ancient philosopher Iamblichus about two boys in Ephesus.
Oh, this story is intense.
It really is. So, lit up by rumors of phantoms, magic, and this blazing, intense reality hidden behind the temple walls, their curiosity just got the better of them.
As boys do.
Right. So under the cover of darkness, they scaled the massive stone walls and dropped down in the courtyard on the other side.
And it did not go well.
No. Almost immediately, pandemonium broke out. Screams and unearthly noises were audible all over the city.
The next morning,
the corpses of the two boys were found dumped unceremoniously in front of the enclosure gates. The danger of this knowledge was absolute. Revealing it or trying to steal it meant execution.
which tells you just how seriously they took this hidden reality. And the method of acquiring this knowledge was just as intense as the security surrounding it. The elites who actually gained entry, they didn't learn by sitting at desks reading textbooks or listening to lectures.
No chalkboards in the mystery school.
Exactly. They were subjected to rigorous physical and psychological trials intended to completely shatter their everyday perception.
Shatter it how?
Well, they used extreme sensory deprivation. Think of being sealed in pitch-black subterranean caves for days.
Wow.
Along with intense breathing exercises and sacred dance to induce radically altered states of consciousness, Booth points out that they also use specific hallucinogens.
Right, the plant medicine aspect.
Yes. In Egypt, it was the blue lily. In other regions, they used potent mixtures of opium and mandrake root.
Potent is probably an understatement.
Truly. The goal was to force the mind out of its normal, rational state and into a trance where this hidden spiritual reality could be directly perceived.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the roster of historical figures who supposedly went through these initiations or bought into this secret philosophy is just staggering.
It's a who's who of history.
It really is. We aren't just talking about fringe mystics living in the woods. We are talking about the foundational pillars of Western civilization. Plato, Alexander the Great, George Washington, who apparently invoked a great spirit in the sky when laying the Masonic cornerstone for the city that bears his name.
Which is documented history.
Yeah. Even Isaac Newton. I mean, when I think of Newton, I think of the father of modern physics, the gravity eye.
The apple falling from the tree.
Exactly. But Booth reminds us that Newton was a lifelong, practicing alchemist who considered his esoteric work far more important than his physics.
That is a crucial point. Newton is the perfect bridge because he shows how this knowledge didn't just vanish when the ancient world collapsed.
Right, where did it go?
When those ancient temples were closed down by the Roman Empire and this knowledge was declared heretical, it simply went underground.
It hid.
Yes. It became a continuous thread of survival. It moved into secret societies like the Knights Templar, esoteric Freemasonry, and the Rosicrucians.
The Rosicrucians, right.
To give you a modern equivalent, a Rosicrucian master is essentially a high-ranking teacher in an underground mystical society dedicated to studying these exact ancient cosmic laws.
And this lineage reaches right up into the modern era. Booth even brings up Pope John Paul II.
Yes, this is a wild detail.
Back in 1939, when he was just a young man acting in an underground theater group in Poland, he was hit by a truck and knocked into a coma.
And during that coma,
he had an overwhelming mystical experience. When he woke up, he recognized this vision as the exact fruit of the esoteric techniques taught to him by his mentor.
who happened to be a modern Rosicrucian master.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
The idea that a 20th century pope was quietly influenced by the same mystical lineage as ancient Egyptian priests is wild.
It connects everything.
And what I love about Booth's argument is how these secret societies, once they went underground, started hiding their knowledge in plain sight.
Oh, it's everywhere.
They wove it into the very fabric of our art and culture, recognizable only to those who already knew how to look.
Like a secret language.
Right. For example, the frontispiece of Sir Walter Raleigh's 1614 book, The History of the World. It is sitting right there on display in the Tower of London.
And people just walk right by it.
Thousands of people,
Yeah.
every day, entirely missing the goat's head and the complex alchemical codes hidden in its design. Or look at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris.
Which is practically a giant textbook.
A giant textbook of intricate astronomical and astrological symbols carved right into the stone.
And it isn't just in architecture and ancient texts, it's in the stories we tell our children.
The fairy tales.
Authors like Lewis Carroll, C.S. Lewis, and the Brothers Grimm were deeply familiar with this esoteric tradition. They actively used their fairy tales to teach children to think upside down.
To kind of break their normal patterns.
Exactly, to break free of rigid, materialistic adult thinking. When Alice falls down the rabbit hole and enters a topsy-turvy universe where animals speak and logic is reversed, that isn't just a whimsical story.
No.
That is a direct structural reflection of the ancient initiation rituals, where candidates were literally made to fall down dark wells or squeeze through tiny doors.
To disorient them.
To completely disorient them and prepare them for a new reality.
Which brings us to the fundamental dividing line between modern science and the philosophy of these secret societies. It's all about the origin of existence itself.
The big question.
Right. Modern science asserts that matter came first. Atoms crashed together, stars formed, planets cooled, and eventually a random combination of chemicals sparked biology.
And then biology eventually sparked consciousness.
Right. In that view, the mind is merely a byproduct of matter. Booth mentions one modern scientist who goes so far as to describe human consciousness as a disease of matter.
Just a weird glitch in the universe.
A glitch. But the secret societies teach the exact complete opposite. They teach that mind came first.
Precisely. They believe that before time, before space, there was only the cosmic mind. The entire physical universe is what esoteric traditions call an emanation.
An emanation.
Yes. If you want to understand that term, think of stepping outside on a freezing winter morning and exhaling.
Seeing your breath.
Exactly. Your invisible breath suddenly hits the cold air and turns into a visible, physical cloud of frost. In the secret history, the physical universe is the visible frost created by the breath of the cosmic mind.
So it's not random.
No, it is a precipitation of pure thought.
Wait, if the physical universe is just the visible breath of a cosmic mind, that completely flips how we view our place in it.
It changes everything.
If matter came first, like science says, we are just a cosmic accident in a universe of blind force. But in the secret history, if mind came first, does that mean the universe is deeply anthropocentric?
Completely centered on humanity.
Like, in a massive universe of billions of galaxies, they believed it was all designed specifically for us. How does that even work?
What's fascinating here is that, yes, to the ancient initiate, the universe is not just some massive, indifferent void. It was created specifically as an incubator to nurture human consciousness.
An incubator.
It is a universe that actively responds to your deepest needs. The stars are not showing you cold indifference.
They're watching.
According to this philosophy, when you approach one of life's great agonizing crossroads, the entire cosmos literally holds its breath in sympathy to see which way you will choose. Everything in the natural world is straining and directed towards the development of humanity.
I have to admit, as crazy as that sounds to my modern ears, there is something deeply comforting about it.
There really is.
And Booth actually uses some modern analogies to explain this psychosomatic reality, this idea that the mind directly affects the physical world.
Schrödinger's cat.
Yes. Erwin Schrödinger's famous quantum physics thought experiment with the cat in the box, where the cat is simultaneously alive and dead until the act of observation forces reality to make a choice.
The observer effect.
The secret societies apply that principle not just to subatomic particles, but to everyday life. Observation literally changes reality.
It brings it into being.
It reminds me of that quote Booth pulls from Bob Dylan's autobiography, Chronicles.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Dylan is talking about what it takes to truly change the times you live in. And he says you have to have power over the spirits to see into the heart of things. Not metaphorically either, but really see it like seeing into metal and making it melt.
Making it melt.
He isn't just being poetic, he is tapping into a literal ancient wisdom where mental states possess direct physical power over matter.
We see this echoed in the visual arts as well. André Breton, the founder of the Surrealist movement, was a massive devotee of this esoteric philosophy.
The Surrealists love this stuff.
They did. When commenting on the work of his contemporary, Marcel Duchamp, Breton introduced this brilliant concept. He said that any piece of physical flotsam or jetsam we grasp in our hands should be considered a precipitate of desire.
A precipitate of desire.
Meaning, the physical stuff around us is literally just our internal wishes, fears, and intentions taking solid form.
That's wild.
The physical world is not a static, dead background. It is highly malleable, constantly being moved, shaped, and molded by our internal states.
Let's take that idea and walk with it, literally. I want you, the listener, to imagine taking a walk in an ancient wood 2,500 years ago.
With this mindset.
Right. With this mindset, you wouldn't just be looking at a collection of timber and leaves. You would feel unseen spirits whispering in the movements of the branches.
Every leaf.
A sudden breeze brushing your cheek wouldn't be a random shift in atmospheric pressure.
Yeah.
You would experience it as the literal gesture of a god. Everything around you is alive, watching, and loaded with intention.
Because to the ancient mind, biology is actually astrobiology.
Explain that.
The universe is humanity turned inside out. They believed there was absolutely nothing inside the human body that didn't have a direct spiritual correspondence in the natural world.
And the examples Booth gives for this are so bizarre, but they really stick with you. He points out that the ancients believed worms look like intestines because they serve the exact same cosmic function.
It's not a coincidence of evolution.
Right. A worm is literally the universe's intestines processing matter, just operating independently. But wait, what about the connection he makes between birds and human lungs? How does that work?
It comes back to that idea of emanations. The ancients believed that the cosmic spirit of freedom and movement through the air expressed itself in different modes.
Okay.
When that spirit manifested externally in the world, it took the form of birds. When that exact same spiritual principle manifested internally within the human body, it took the shape of our lungs.
They're the same thing spiritually.
They are physical expressions of the exact same cosmic concept. And this deep interconnectedness extended to the planets as well, which were believed to literally shape biological life.
Right. They didn't just think the planets were giant rocks floating in space. They thought they were spiritual engines.
Exactly. Take Saturn, for instance. Saturn traces a very sharp, angular, almost jagged pattern across the night sky.
Sort of zigzag.
Right.
Yeah.
The ancients believed this specific planetary movement created the sharp, needle-like shape of pine trees.
Which sounds like pure myth until you look at the science.
And what's incredible is that modern science has actually shown that pine trees contain unusually large traces of lead. And lead, for thousands of years, has been the specific metal alchemically associated with Saturn.
That is just uncanny.
Or consider Venus. The ancients believed the spiritual force of Venus physically governed the human kidneys. Fast forward to the beginning of the 20th century, and modern science discovered the kidney's crucial role in storing and regulating testosterone.
Venus truly is the planet of desire.
Operating right there in human anatomy.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If our bodies are shaped by the planets, how did the ancients view the mind itself?
The seat of thought.
Today, we are very protective of our private thoughts. We assume my thoughts are mine, and I generate them internally in my physical brain.
We own them.
But the ancients believed that thoughts were actually beamed into us from outside entities, from gods, angels, or what Booth calls thought beings.
Thought beings.
So instead of people thinking, the ancient reality was thoughts peopling. I want you to think about the last time you were in the shower or driving to work, and a brilliant, fully formed idea just struck you out of nowhere.
A eureka moment.
You didn't painstakingly build that idea piece by piece. According to this secret history, you didn't invent it at all. That is quite literally a spirit weaving its way through your consciousness.
This raises an important question, though. If our thoughts are influenced by these cosmic beings, and the planets are spiritual engines, how does that change the way we interpret the foundational stories of our culture?
Like the Bible.
Particularly our ultimate origin story, the Book of Genesis. If we look at the biblical creation narrative through the lens of this secret philosophy, an entirely different, almost unrecognizable cosmic drama unfolds.
So what does this all mean when we sit down and read the Bible? Booth reveals a massive secret hiding right there in the original language.
In the Hebrew.
Right. In Genesis, the word Elohim, which is traditionally translated in English simply as God, is actually a plural noun. It properly translates to the gods.
Which completely shatters the traditional monotheistic reading.
Entirely.
The secret creation story encoded in Genesis is an epic battle of emanations. First, a vast, gentle cosmic mist forms, finer than light.
The mother goddess.
This is the mother goddess, or Mother Earth, carrying the pure, unformed potential for all life. But then, a terrifying second emanation attacks her.
Saturn.
This is Saturn, the Dark Lord. To the eye of the ancient imagination, Saturn is depicted as a giant, terrifying phantom with scaly white skin, glowing red eyes, and armed with a deadly scythe.
The Grim Reaper.
Precisely. Saturn represents the principle of limitation, time, and death. Because of Saturn's attack, everything that exists is suddenly limited to a specific time and a specific space.
It's trapped.
Because of Saturn, everything that lives must eventually die, and our lives are filled with hardship, gravity, and limits.
Saturn basically tries to squeeze all the potential for life out of the cosmos before it can even begin.
But then comes the dramatic rescue.
The sun god arrives to push back the darkness of Saturn. This sun god is a seven-fold spirit. He's known as Apollo in Greece, Krishna in India, or the Lodos, the word.
Bringer of light.
He rides a chariot, radiating light, and as he warms Mother Earth back into life, he lets out a great triumphal roar. And that roar vibrates to the very edges of the cosmos, causing dead matter to coagulate and dance into existence.
Sound creating matter.
It's the sun god literally singing the world into being. When I read that, it instantly reminded me of C.S. Lewis's prequel to the Chronicles of Narnia, The Magician's Nephew.
Oh, perfect parallel.
There's that beautiful scene where the great lion Aslan paces the empty, dark void and literally sings the grass, the valleys, and the whole world of Narnia into existence. Lewis wasn't just making up a neat magic trick.
He was passing on the secret history of creation.
He absolutely was.
And the immediate aftermath of this cosmic rescue by the sun god, according to the secret history, was an era of primitive plant life.
But not plants like we know them.
No, you have to discard your modern image of a fern or a tree. It was a vast, floating cosmic plant web described in ancient Indian texts as the net of Indra.
Infinite threads of luminous living light.
And what is vital to understand here is that humanity evolved through this vegetable stage. We didn't just bypass it, we absorbed it.
We still have it in us.
We do. As a result, we still contain a vegetable element today. Our sympathetic nervous system, if you were to extract it and stand it up on its own, looks exactly like an inverted tree.
With the roots at the brain.
Exactly. And its central hub, which regulates our bodily functions and symbolically feeds on the sun's energy, is appropriately named the solar plexus.
It just completely changes how you read human anatomy and how you read ancient texts. There is one last mind-bending detail from the biblical text that ties this all together for me.
The cherubim.
The Bible features these four famous cherubim. You see them in the prophet Ezekiel's dream and later in the book of Revelation. They are the ox, the lion, the eagle, and the angel.
The four beasts.
Well, the secret societies teach that these aren't just mythical beasts meant to look intimidating. They are the great spiritual beings behind the zodiac constellations of Taurus the bull, Leo the lion, Scorpio the eagle, and Aquarius the angel.
Astrology in the Bible.
The Bible itself is thoroughly loaded with polytheistic astrological deities, if you know the code.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to ask ourselves what we lose when we dismiss this worldview entirely as just ancient superstition.
We lose a lot.
Modern science is an incredibly powerful, indispensable tool for explaining the how-come of the universe. How atoms knock together, the sequence of cause and effect, how gravity operates.
And the mechanics of it all.
But as Booth strongly argues throughout his work, science entirely fails to answer the why. Why is there life at all? What is the intention behind the universe? Science has no mechanism to answer those questions.
Right. The science basically tells you to just get on with it. That asking about the meaning of life is a meaningless question.
A waste of time.
But this ancient philosophy, as wild and contrary to our modern logic as it is, validates that deep, ineradicable human feeling that our lives actually do have meaning.
That we matter.
It tells you that your choices matter, that they require courage, and that you are not just a random accident of chemistry floating on a rock in a dead void.
You are the focal point.
You are the focal point of a living cosmos that is actively rooting for you.
It is a philosophy that requires a massive imaginative leap. But once you make that leap, once you entertain the idea that mind precedes matter, you begin to see its traces everywhere.
In our architecture, our literature.
The religions we practice, and the very rhythms of our own bodies.
I want to thank you for joining us on this incredibly deep dive into the secret history of the world. We covered a lot of ground today, from hallucinogenic temple rituals to the cosmic breath of creation.
A huge journey.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. You see, the secret societies don't just use this philosophy to look backward at creation. They use it to look forward.
A roadmap for the future.
If mind truly shapes matter, then their prophecies are essentially blueprints they are actively trying to manifest. According to the cosmic plan held by these groups, there is a specific prophecy for the future of human evolution.
And it involves geopolitics.
Yes. The secret history predicts that the great new impulse for human evolution will eventually arise in Russia. It predicts that European civilization, as we know it, will completely collapse. And finally, it foretells that the final flame of true spirituality will be kept burning in America. That is quite the blueprint for the future. Something for you to mull over until next time.